I've recently finished revising my space fantasy manuscript, and I'm going to try to get it traditionally published. That means I need to send query letters to agents who can hopefully get publishing houses to have a bidding war over the glory that is my story. Or that's the plan. However, querying is the worst. More likely, I'm going to end up with a lovely stack of rejection letters to match my first queried manuscript with a few full requests where they ask for the rest of the manuscript, and if I'm very fortunate, an offer of representation from an agent who will then take the next weeks, months, whatever, doing their best to find a publisher who's looking for what I'm offering. Welcome back to Morgan's Writing Tips and Writerly Musings with writing tips from the pros and, of course, my own Writerly Musings. I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood, and today I'm here with Querying is the Worst. For those who are not familiar, to query is to ask something of someone. In publishing, query letters have a very specific format and expectation. They include the story's stats, your bio, and a 2 to 3 paragraph section selling your story. It should be in third person, present tense, and I actually have a hobby of revising other people's query letters. I'm skilled at getting them into query format, and my friend Patrick is great at making them pop. And it is known that it is a million times easier to revise someone else's query rather than your own. The struggle is real when you have to incorporate some feedback and not just shove back with justifications about why you put that in there. So, why is it easier to revise someone else's query? Glad you asked. First reason, everything is important. Everything you put into your story is there for a reason. If you'd wanted to write a story in 2 to 3 paragraphs, you wouldn't have written the rest of the manuscript. Keeping it short is a struggle, and my friend Patrick highly recommends more strong verbs and fewer descriptive prepositional phrases. But those are my emotional support prepositional phrases. Reason number two, everything happens for a reason. A lot of times, plot elements are hard to boil down to their simplest form because it's hard to explain what's happening and why without giving backstory, and the query isn't the place for your character's backstory other than maybe a smidge. Reason number three is everyone matters. My story has three point of view characters, each with their own stakes, their own storylines, but they can't all fit in the query letter. So I need to focus on one, maybe two point of view characters whose stories tie together the best. I started off with 2 point of view characters in my query, but right now I'm down to one and it's still a hot mess. So, what does need to be in that query letter? Well, query letters should focus on the beginning of the story up to the turning point. If you need to tie it for comp novels, comparison novels in the market, or for the story's theme, sometimes you can go up to the halfway point. But what should the story portion of the query letter contain? First off, it needs to contain the emotional stakes. What does your character want, and how do they feel about not having it? Number two, something stopping them from having it. If they could just order it on Amazon, they'd already have their dreams. So clearly, something is standing in their way. Whether it's a mystery organization, a lack of funds, or their own brain chemistry setting them up for failure, there's something they need to at least try to overcome. Thing three that you need is consequences. You don't achieve your dreams by everything staying the same. In order to get something, you usually have to give up something or risk losing something. The main character needs consequences, whether they achieve that turning point goal or not. And thing number 4, you need details in your query letter. Some agents want queries that sound like back of cover blurbs, but most agents want more details. This is not where you worry about spoilers. If your query is vague enough that it sounds like a find replace on names from another book, you're not giving enough details or you rip somebody off. After all, Avatar, Blue Aliens, has the same story as Fern Gully, as Pocahontas. Side note, I was going to say if you haven't watched Fern Gully, it's a forgotten classic, but I have no clue if it stood this test of time, so let me know. Queries are hard, even for people who enjoy them. If you're in the query trenches, I wish you the best of luck. Sure, I've left out a lot. That's why I have a query resources page on morganhazelwood.com. Have you ever had these struggles? If so, let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching and tune in again next week for more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye bye.